as the head football coach, and I know our players are chomping at the bit. It's going to be an exciting ball game. We know quite a bit about the University of North Dakota, a lot of their coaches, a lot of the players that we're going to be playing against. Got a great deal of respect for Coach Swigert, and we know the type of team that they'll bring in will be strong, physical, and disciplined. We'd like to think that we're going to be a more athletic, more disciplined, and more productive football team this next year. When I look at our football team offensively, we're certainly going to leverage the fact that we've got some strong running backs that are very experienced. We feel like we've made good progress at the quarterback position. Cam Coughlin has had an excellent spring and a really good fall camp and has established himself as our starter. Along with that, a couple receivers who played some last year, Tanner Gentry and Jake Ballmer, are guys who have proven that they can play in big games. But you're going to see a lot of young freshmen out there playing, and it'll be exciting to see. But there'll be probably sometimes that we'll have some growing pains as we go through that. Within the offensive line, I think there's going to be a more athletic, stronger, certainly more capable of blocking the style of running plays and pass protections that we need. So we're in hopes you're going to see a significant improvement offensively. Defensively, a lot of new guys playing different positions. There's a couple guys that have come over from offense. The biggest thing that I would say is that the defense has more speed and more athleticism than what we did last year. We felt like when we got into our conference play specifically, we were not near athletic enough. And so between DJ May and Eric Mazacha, some of the other younger players that are out there will have more speed on the back end. You will see the front four, a lot of familiar names at the front four position. And anytime you're good on defense, you better start with a good defensive line, so we feel good about that. We do have a solid kicking game, Ethan Woods, and we have established our place kicker, Tristan Bailey, and so we'll go as we go there. So at this time, any questions?
When you have a question, if you'd raise your hand, we'll bring a mic to you.
Wow.
Craig, first talk about Bailey as your kicker. I know that was a work in progress throughout camp. What did you see there, and is it pretty much set, or could it still be kind of a work in progress as the season goes?
We named a starter, and that came about with a body of work, live repetitions, practice repetition. We had a robust competition at that spot. We always look at all our positions during the course of the year, Robert, and continue to have competition there, but he earned the starting job as a place kicker, and so we're going to move forward. What else is unique about this football team, more so than any team that I've been around? I was going through Tim's press release that we've got the fewest number of seniors, we're second in the country. As a result of that, that gives us a great opportunity. And what is unique for me, there'll be 13 freshman players that will play. And I'll go ahead and read those names to you. On offense, it'll be Josh Harshman, Kellen Overstreet, Zach Wallace, Caden Jackson, Nico Dowles, James Price, Joe Parker, and Justice Murphy. Over on defense, Kevin Prosser, Christian Irvin, Carl Granderson, Andrew Wingert, and Antonio Holt. And so a large group of freshman players. I think it's an indication of a more mature recruiting class, more recruiting efforts. Certainly, there's opportunities there when you have a small senior class like that. That's going to filter down through your football team. But we're excited about these freshmen. I want to go ahead and make that announcement today.
Coach, you mentioned you have a lot of respect for the coaching staff there at North Dakota, but what in particular about this program, about this team coming into this season, things they like to do? Would it be, with the first game of the season, kind of tough sometimes, but with what they have returning, and you can just go into that a little bit.
You bet. Well, first of all, you're going to see a big, strong offensive line, and I think that's indicated by the heights and weights, and that's typical of the University of North Dakota. The quarterback, Keaton Studsrud, we know a great deal about. He's a really athletic quarterback. the style of defense that they play as a 3-4 defense, a lot of movements and things like that, that has, through the years, whether at the University of North Dakota or many of these coaches were at Southern Illinois, so that, you know, we've got a great book of experience on them, and they have a great book of experience on us, so it's going to be a classic game from that standpoint.
Coach, you mentioned that Kellen Overstreet will be one of those freshmen playing. Is he in the number 3 spot coming into this week? I know he only listed 2 deep, and
Right.
what do you envision his role being here this week?
Well, beyond his position as running back, I think he's going to have a significant contribution on special teams, whether it's covering kicks, being on the punt team, all those other type of special team plays that are really, really important. And so what you're seeing is many of these freshmen, maybe they won't play on scrimmage downs, but they're going to have an impact on special teams. And what we found last year, you know, field position really did not go in our favor very much, and a lot of that time is generated by our special teams play. So we've made a concerted effort to play everybody that we can, and so Kellen will play primarily on special teams, and then as the year goes along, hopefully you'll see him play more scrimmage downs as well. But right now, you've got 2 big-time hitters there, and you know, we'll see where we go from there.
Coach, what's different for you this fall camp than it was a year ago? Obviously, you have a year of experience now. What was different this fall camp than?
Well, I know the players' names, like Ali Api Api. Last year, I couldn't hardly say that. You know, it's just a much more familiarity with our players and our system, the community, and the league. And the way we have always, when I say we, it's not only myself but our coaching staff, we've always, you know, made steady, continual progress. And that's about laying a foundation. It's not like being the circus where you come in and do a bunch of bells and whistles and razzmatazz, and then after about 2 years, it's the same stuff. We're going to be a program that's going to continue to build. And so in the second year, understanding our players and our players understanding our coaches and our expectations.
Coach, you talked about increasing the speed and athleticism on defense. These guys are going to have to grow up on the fly, basically, from your perspective, and I would say how much more gray hair can you get? But
I have no gray hair. That's one of the advantages about short haircuts. You stay the same age, you think, anyhow. A lot of young players, and there's no doubt, but that's going to be our charge as coaches to make sure we're putting these guys in position to utilize their athleticism. You know, the back 7 in particular, guys that we put a premium on speed, and so we'll utilize that. You have a guy like DJ May, he's a low 4.4 guy that will start at our nickel position. Eric Nazasha runs really well. Lucas Walker runs well. Andrew Winger runs well. Robert Priest runs well. They're all young, and so but they're going to run fast.
Craig, you mentioned North Dakota and the strong offensive line. Like they leaned a lot on their run game last year. When you look at that on film, is that a lot of kind of a mirror image of what you like to do as far as leaning on that run game, and can that possibly be an advantage, at least knowing what may be coming on Saturday?
Well, first games are always exciting because you don't know. I mean, coaches, typically you're going to try to do a couple new wrinkles and the new things. You know, how much they run the ball, I doubt that they're going to be a wide open passing game where they're going to be in 4 wide receivers. You see a team that, you're right, I mean, has a lot of similarities to the style of offense that we have played. There's advantages to that because defensively you're a little bit more familiar with that. On the flip side, they're familiar with what kind of defense we play as well.
Craig, last thing I know, you named your captains, 6 guys. What did you know, obviously 4 juniors, not having those seniors. What did you like about those guys to make them captains?
Right. Well, those were selected by our team, and a captain is what we believe, and what I believe personally is the highest honor a guy can receive, because it's an acknowledgement by your teammates that they view you as a leader. And typically, when you have 6 captains, it's an indication of some broad-based leadership. And so we're excited about those 6 guys, and I spend a great deal of time with those men, and looking forward to working with them.
Coach, you mentioned you have the second fewest seniors across the nation, and obviously a lot of freshmen. Have you ever had an experience like that at NDSU with so much youth, or is this something completely new to you?
Yeah, we did, and it's always somewhat dangerous to draw comparisons, but This freshman class is very similar to a freshman class that propelled to some greatness, and that's not to completely stamp saying these guys are going to lead us to the promised land, but a lot of these guys are going to be household names for a long, long time. Now they're going to go through some growing spurts, but they're really vested. They want to play at the University of Wyoming. It's important to them. We were very intentional about what we were looking for. They accepted the challenge, and so their character is more along the lines of the guys that we feel like give us long-term success in their athleticism as well. And so, you know what? When a guy's young and he's in the right spot, we'll work with those guys.
Craig, what's the latest on the injuries as far as guys that you have, aside from what we know would happen in fall camp with season-ending?
I'm glad you brought that up. I did make a note of that. And I said right now all the players are healthy and ready to go, and that's not a smoke and mirror statement. So we're pleased with that. We had an aggressive long fall camp. I think it's an indication of an excellent job that our strength and conditioning staff has done with them all summer long. And so we'll go into our first game unless something surprisingly happens this week. And you'll see all those guys ready to go.
Coach, do you handle a team that's this young any differently than you would with a team that had a ton of seniors on it?
Yes, we do. Every year is different. And, to say that this is an immature group may not be completely accurate, but they're certainly not seasoned. And so what we have done during this fall camp, when there was no 20-hour rule, these guys had one day off for about a month. And so we spent a lot of time with them, and spent a lot of time mentoring them, making sure that guys were in the right spots and felt good about being where they're at, because we're going to ask a lot of these freshmen, the guys who are playing this year and then the guys that are redshirting, to have a huge impact in this program, not only on this year, but years to come.